Hello, dear viewer. Welcome to the collection update. Got a lot of great games this month, and I'm going to show them off to you right now. So what we've got here is 12 new games added to my collection, although only 11 will count towards my goal of having a 100% complete North American collection, as that 12th game is a Japanese import. So let's talk about that one first. Game 0, Kaiketsu Zorori Mezase Itazura King, aka Petty Officer Zorori, Aim For It, Prankster King. This is an iToy game that I can't play because I still haven't bought a Japanese PlayStation 2. I picked this up recently at Retro Game Fest here in Austin, Texas. Zorori is this fox fella who's sort of a bad guy. His goal is to create mischief, and in this game you need to pass 9 prank tests by wreaking havoc in hopes of earning the prank certificate. Next up we have Tak 2, The Staff of Dreams. There are a couple of things that make me happy about the Tak series. First is Patrick Warburton's voice, and second, the childish humor.
Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. Open up those eyes of yours, sleepyhead!
Stop it, Luck. I've already tried that.
Nickelodeon has a solid lineup of games for the PlayStation 2, and this series is one of their best. I did run into some bugs, and some of the game's logic doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's been a fun title so far. If you enjoy 3D platforming collectathon games, and who doesn't, then this is another classic on our beloved console. I picked up a lot of RPGs this month. Which are harder to get a feel for unless you have a lot of time to spend playing them, which I do not. Hopefully after I do get a complete PlayStation 2 collection, I will be able to devote more time to some of these titles. Game number 2 added to my collection today is Grandia II. This game is all over the place for me. The fights feel a little bit better than the standard JRPG hit points, magic points, turn-based system, but I wouldn't call this innovative. I enjoy playing it, and I think the stage design is nice, but the graphics are kinda cruddy and the story is pretty generic. Having said that, I never much care about the plot or graphics of a game. For me, it's all about fun and interesting gameplay, so there's a good chance I'll come back to this title at some point, although it will likely be after the Shin Megami and Final Fantasy games. Game 3 is Robot Alchemic Drive. It's pretty, rad. This is a sought-after title that I thought was an RPG. It is not. It's giant robots fighting and terrible voice acting.
What is going on? They're calling for you!
Despite the bad graphics and voice work, the game is surprisingly good. Robot Alchemic Drive has an innovative system of play. You are a human controlling a giant robot fighting off aliens, but rather than sitting inside of the head or chest of your robot, you're outside of it. You are your own camera viewpoint. If the fight begins to move around outside of your human's view, you'll need to switch control away from your robot and move your human somewhere that they can see the battle. Luckily, the humans can fly in short bursts for some reason, so getting on top of buildings isn't too hard. Once your human is back in place, switch back to the robot controls and beat up giant invading aliens again. The controls for the robot are unusual but fun. Movement is done with the L and R buttons, and the arms are controlled with the analog sticks. You can wind back your punches for more power or swing a certain way to perform uppercuts. There are also drill fists and multiple projectiles to play with. What a strange and wonderful game. Next up is Bakugan. It's a bad card game for kids that has almost nothing to do with cards. I admit I didn't give this game much playtime, so maybe I'm being unfair, but this has been sitting on my 2-play stack for months. I'm glad I got it out of the way so I don't have to look at it anymore. So in this game you throw dragons around, mash some buttons, and card stuff do. I didn't like it, and I don't ever want to play it again. If this is a game that you like, that's fine. Don't let my grumpy old man opinions taint your feelings about this title, but I still hate it. Game 5 is Monster Hunter. This series has been huge in Japan, and it's becoming huge here as well. I've watched reviews of this game before, but I still don't understand why it's so popular. What I mean is that whatever makes this game so much fun seems to be hard to put into words. Well, that's my best guess at least. Running around, stabbing monsters, and finding the best weapons for my playstyle seems like it will be a lot of fun. I've only played this game for about half an hour so far. I will be spending more time with it, hopefully sooner than later. Now for some bad news. There are a handful of games that will not record with my Elgato HD. Mega Man X Collection is one of these games. It's strange because it recorded the audio and some of the menu screens, but all of the actual gameplay is missing. It's too bad because I did put a lot of time into this game and I have nothing to show for it, but that's how it goes sometimes. It's a collection of 7 Mega Man X games. This is 100% worth buying. Next up is Game 7, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I'll be honest, I'm not super into fighting games. This is one of the better fighting games out there, and the art style here is the best of the best, but this feels like a button masher. I guess I prefer the Super Smash Bros. Style of play. I respect this game for being the next evolution of the two-dimensional fighting game, but at the end of the day, it's another Street Fighter, just with cooler characters. Quick side note, this is one of the more valuable games in the North American collection. I've been keeping an eye out for this game for a long time. I'm glad to have this one in my collection. Oh, my birthday was this month, so the next 2 items were gifts I received from lovers and ex-lovers. First up is this awesomely awful Dragon Quest slime controller. This one was imported from Japan and I need to clean it up a little bit, but how cool is this? It even has this sweet stand which will hold the controller 2 different ways. I haven't used this ridiculous controller yet, but it will happen. They still make these, by the way. Here's the PS4 version for Dragon Quest XI. The other birthday item I got and Game 8 added this month is Growlanser Generations Deluxe. This is an RPG with a sort of real-time and turn-based strategy combo battle system. It's hard to describe and I was having trouble getting used to it, but it's interesting and I look forward to playing more. Now, this game is special to me for a handful of reasons. First of all, this special edition is hard to find complete. I have been debating buying a copy at a local game store for a couple of years, but it's missing the watch. I'm glad I held out, and big thanks to my friend Tony for getting this for me. Now, the other reason this game is special is because I played an import version of this when I was in high school. One day my friend Han knew and handed me a copy of one of the Landgrisser games with a stack of paper. He explained to me that the game was super linear, so the translation would be easy to follow, which is what that stack of paper was. Sure enough, playing an imported game with a giant stack of printed translations on another friend's Sega Saturn worked out. This is one of my fond memories from the early days of the internet, and owning a later game in the series is a nice reminder of this event. Also, check out all of these sweet extras that came in there. Whew, too much nostalgia there for a moment, so let's show off Real Pool. This is a surprisingly good game, but I'm terrible at pool. It turns out this includes Virtual Pool, which I discovered thanks to this game. I don't have a lot to say about this title, so here's another story. Back when my wife and I were still dating, we went backpacking across Canada for almost a month, and at one point we ended up at a random bar in London, Ontario. We were there a little bit early and no one was around, so we ordered a drink and the bartender unlocked the pool table so we could play for free as there was nothing else to do. We tried to play, but my wife is as bad at pool as I am, and it was just embarrassing. It would have been the longest game of pool ever, but eventually people started showing up at the bar and we didn't want to look like idiots in front of strangers, so we quit playing. This was the same day that my wife discovered the sport of curling. I wonder if there's a PS2 game with curling in it. Item 10 is a 3-pack. There are 20 different 3-packs that I'm aware of for the PlayStation 2 and I currently own 9 of them. This is the Devil May Cry 5th Anniversary Edition with the white cover. There's also a variant with a black cover that I don't own yet. When it comes to PS2 collecting, there is a sort of hierarchy for which versions of the game to grab, with cool collector's editions being the top and greatest hits version being at the bottom. I figured 3-packs are in the middle somewhere and I'm always looking for more. The final official game added to my collection this month, though not the final game I'll be talking about today, is Steambot Chronicles. I've been trying to get this game for a long time. I've lost 2 eBay auctions for this game in the past, but this one showed up as a buy it now item for a reasonable price. It's so rare to find good things on eBay that way, but it does happen occasionally. Anyways, this is another RPG, but with an upgradable robot and a non-linear story. Fellow YouTuber K-Bash is also a big fan of this game. He's one of the people that recommended to me that I pick this title up. Go check out his channel sometime. Steambot Chronicles is another highly sought after game and I'm very happy to have it in my collection. This has been a good month for collecting, but now for the final game I'd like to talk to you about. Tiny Toon Adventures Defenders of the Universe, which is a mostly complete game that never got released. For a long time, I've been looking for a list of games by SLUS number, which are the numbers on the spine of PS2 games here in the US. I found a list on an old website that no longer exists, but it was archived in the Internet Archive. I pulled out their PS2 list and I've been going over it lately, fixing mistakes and adding missing games, but I noticed that a lot of the games on the list were unreleased titles and I fell down a rabbit hole, but I came out with Tiny Toons. this is a fun game. It seems to be a spiritual successor to a Japanese game called Rakugaki Showtime. You pick one of 4 playable Tiny Toons and run around kicking stuff and jumping everywhere. I don't completely understand the controls yet, but this is a lot of fun. I don't think this game is 100% complete, as many of the sound effects seem like placeholders and the game has no tutorial. I suspect these would have been the last things to be touched up before the game was published, but for some reason this never happened. While this certainly doesn't count as part of my official collection, it is an interesting anomaly that I thought was worth mentioning. There are loads of unreleased PS2 games, some of which got Sony serial numbers and some that even made it as far as receiving ESRB ratings. If I hadn't played this game, I would have assumed that these were bad titles that no one wanted to release, but this proves the opposite. This is a good game. It should have been published. It is a shame that this poor game never made it to store shelves. And after finishing this script and beginning to film, I noticed that I forgot a game. So the 12th game added to the collection is one of the most valuable special edition variants, and that is .hack GU Volume 1 Rebirth Special Edition. This one comes with an action figure. I'm very happy with the quality of this item. I nabbed my copy off of eBay and the seller did a great job with the shipping. Just like the other .hack series before this, the story takes place inside of an MMORPG. I don't have a whole lot to say about this. I'm honestly not a big fan of the original series, but maybe I'll come around. Who knows? This game looks nicer than the first one did. Okay, so I don't actually know what my collection total amount is because I have been trying to desperately figure out how many PlayStation 2 games there are for a while, and I've been kind of thinking I'll just, as I go along, I'll be able to figure it out. And some of these games, when I went to add them to my collection list, I was getting frustrated. I decided it was time to just buckle down and come up with my own list. So I did, and as far as I can tell, the amount of PlayStation 2 games there are, if you don't count special editions and duplicates, there are 1,809. There are some games that I left in that may be controversial, and there's some games I left out that may be controversial. Like, I left out the Linux disc because I don't think that could be bought separately, or at least not at a store. Maybe it could, but it's not a game, so I don't know. That one was real iffy for me. I left out Twisted Metal Black Online, which is a game I actually used to have, but you got that game by registering your network adapter when you got a PS2, and they just sent it to you for free, so it wasn't exactly a retail release, so I didn't count that one. There are 2 games I left in that are greatest hits editions that are enhanced versions that have extra play modes or extra characters and also fix some bugs, and they're significantly different enough that I went ahead and left them in. So maybe the number's controversial, maybe it's not, I don't know. The thing is though, I came up with the number 1,809 and it may still not be correct. I'm still kind of going through it to make sure there's not any more mistakes in there. I'll have a link to my website below. It's my cheesy website from like a video a while back, but I just went ahead and put the list up there. You can poke through it, see if there's any mistakes in there, and like comment or get a hold of me and let me know if there's any in there that shouldn't be in there, and I'll remove them. Like I said, there are some controversial ones that I'm going to leave in, and there's some that I did pull out, so some of those are left up to interpretation, but that's the numbers. So what I need to do now is I need to recount my games because I forgot to do that using this new system. And when I do that and I figure out how many games I have, I'll like comment it below if it gets done in the near future because I might forget. But you know what would help me remember? Hitting the subscribe button and checking in with me on these monthly updates, because I'm a caring guy and you're a caring guy or girl. I don't know. I don't assume. Subscribe. Watch more videos. I got lots of them. I do these collection updates monthly. They're fun. Thanks for watching.